Okay, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the year 2021. Puro kalaro. This is not Jamie. This is Rainier. Kamusta na kayo dyan? Jamie is missing in action. And then nasakit si Jamie. So, hindi muna siya uh, mag-host ngayon. But I'm your host today, Rainier. And of course, we have John here at the sidelines, at the background. John, hello.
Hello.
Diyan ka ba?
Hello.
Oh, yan. Our special guest today, all the way from Washington, D.C., we've got my good old friend, Doug. Doug, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good. So, just a quick background on Doug and what we're going to talk about and why Doug is our guest today. We've worked together for quite a while. We worked in China for a U.S. Chinese company. And now Doug is back. Doug is back in Washington, D.C. And Doug, can you tell me the company that you work for? That's what the topic of our conversation today.
Yeah, currently I'm working with CSG, and we're basically a startup in the sports card industry.
Mhm.
We are connected with CCG and CGC, so they are big, heavy hitters in the collectibles industry.
For our listeners who might not be familiar with what you do and what your company
Yeah.
does, what is CGC? What is CCG? What is all that? I said CDC,
Yeah.
Center for Disease Control. You might want to tell us what those acronyms mean.
Yeah, so certified sports guarantee is what company I am specifically focused on. And what we will be doing is we will be authenticating sports cards. We'll be checking your sports cards, we'll be grading them, and then we'll be encapsulating them. So we're really helping to preserve your cards and give them value. And that's really what we're all about. Now, CGC is all about comics. We have other subsidiaries that are about coins. We also encapsulate paper money. So we're all over the map, and we're ensuring that your collectibles are the correct value and grade.
So that's the word encapsulate, the one that you
Yeah,
you put it
I
in
mean,
that kind of a like what I see when you watch Pawn Stars and then you see it's in like
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Does
so
that
they're encapsulated. I mean, people also just call it slabbed. We
mhm,
slab comic
mhm.
books and cards.
Does that include like I've seen I think some episodes wherein they also like encapsulate like NES games? Does that include that?
Well, we
What?
haven't gone there yet. That's another company, but who knows?
Mm.
Encapsulating games does seem pretty exciting right now, and it's quite popular.
Okay, okay. Well, see here, I think in the Philippines and there's probably some collectors as well, but I don't think we have that here yet. I think John, right? Am I right? We don't have that kind of service here.
Not that I know of.
Okay, yeah, that's why I think uh, your job is very interesting. So how tell us more about it, like how we know it's big in the US, but how big is it? And then why do they need like you, or what do you call yourself, like a certifier or
Yeah, a
a
grader,
grader?
sort of.
Okay,
Yeah.
why do they in the US? Why is that needed? And how big is the industry in the US?
Okay, well, I'll start with the industry in the U.S. and grading sports cards and all types of cards, even is become hugely popular and very important in the industry. Now, it's there are multiple companies that are grading sports cards, and it's a very competitive. It's become so competitive over the past year that there have been delays of up to 6 to 9 months to get your cards back. So if they
What?
promise to send you your cards in 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
because of the demand that people have sent all their cards and collections to these companies, it's gone up to 6 months, 9 months, and maybe further. So the demand here is real, and cards are very hot right now. Some of the young guys in any of the major sports, they go for very high value, up to the thousands, maybe even more, depending on their rarity.
Mm. No, so that's where you come in. You grade if somebody gives you a
Yeah.
card, you grade it, and then so that mean you put a price tag on it, something like that.
Well, we put a grade on it, and that grade
Okay.
really correlates to the quality of the card. So there are
Mm-hmm.
four actually major areas that we're looking at. We're looking at the centering of the card, like where it is placed on the card. Is it shifted to the left? Is it a little lower than the border? Then the other field we're looking at is corners. So how sharp are the corners of the card? Is there any whitening or any damage? Then we
Mm-hmm.
also look at the edges, which is the other parts of the borders, the middle, left, right, bottom. And then the last part is the surface, and just making sure there aren't any scratches or there isn't any foreign substance on the card. So we have to take a look at all those separate fields and then give your card a grade. We also are working with some new technology to really help with the centering, and look to the very smallest measurements to confirm the centering of the card. And we look for any I guess markings on the card or any alterations. Let's say a card had some damage and someone trimmed the card and made it a little shorter so you wouldn't see that damage. So we're going to be using some great technology to be focusing on that. And, that's something that hasn't been around in the industry. And, I can confidently say that the other card graders aren't doing these types of things. So we're going to be bringing some great stuff to ensure your cards are truly worth what grade is given to them.
Okay. Like I'm coming in as like I don't know much about this grading thing, and
Yeah.
I'm sure our listeners have a lot of questions as well. And like what I said, I don't think we have it here. Like for example, there's a lot of questions already going through my mind. For example, number one, let's say I do have some. Do you also do like let's say Pokemon cards? Your company does that too?
Yeah, so we have another division called CGC Trading Cards,
Mm-hmm.
and under that umbrella is Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon is exploding. So we work very closely with them, and we support each other. And basically, our card cases are going to be quite similar to theirs. But yeah, we see Pokemon cards all day long while we're preparing to release CSG. So the growth in CGC trading cards, because it only started, I believe, in July, is really exciting. So it's very young as well. But yeah, if you have any Charizards, if you have any original base set Pokemon, you need to get them graded. Charizards can go up to 60,000, 100,000 US dollars.
Okay, of course, it has to. Then your grading would like know whether it's real. Is it like the real thing, the real deal?
We have experts that have been in the Pokemon industry, since the very beginning. So we're gonna fight all that.
Okay, first thing. I think let's go back.
Yeah.
Let's say I have the card. I'm sure people in the Philippines have cards that we have this connection with the U.S. So they go, lots of relatives. They buy stuff there. First thing, if they do have a card, it's probably lying in their grandma's cupboard somewhere, and then they find it. Why would one need to grade a card? What's the why would they want it graded? That's the first question, I think.
Well, for me as a collector, I've been a long time collector of sports cards. For me, I just want to ensure the condition of my card. And let's
Mm-hmm.
say I didn't buy the card myself, but I bought it off eBay from someone else. I want to
Yep.
make sure that it's a real card. So the first thing as a collector, you want to ensure that it stays in the condition it is in, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's real. Now, if let's say if the card went up to $100,000 and you want to get a house one day, or you're getting married and you have to part ways with some of your collection, then you might want to get it graded, because that's the only way to get the real value. For a raw card, for a card that is ungraded, you're going to get
Mm-hmm.
only a small percentage of the highest value that your card can be. So, as a collector, I recommend ensuring that your card is safe. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's in your grandma's closet, go find it. Go make sure it's still there, and there hasn't been a flood and it washed away or something, or there
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been
Ouch.
some rats chewing on it or something.
You,
But yeah,
you just
yeah,
hit
make
home when
sure.
you said when it's flooded, because we've had flooding last year everywhere. So yeah.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
no. Oh
Ouch.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you gotta make sure it's fine. And one of the big things that happens because of the pandemic is a lot of people were stuck at home. A lot of people went through their old collections, and then the Last Dance. I don't know if you know, on Netflix, the Michael Jordan series, documentary series, came out, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people were looking at their Michael Jordan cards and saying, "Hey, these might actually be worth something someday." And people started remembering Jordan from the documentary, and so they were sending their cards in, and his value went up a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of people were stuck at home. They couldn't go out and buy all sorts of things. A lot of sneakerheads couldn't go out and buy shoes, and so they could buy cards online. And so the card industry right now is having a difficult time getting cards to people, because once they go live online, they sell out immediately. And even now, if you go to a Target or a Walmart, um, getting cards is nearly impossible, because once they go onto the shelves, people are there ready to buy them. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a real huge demand, and people are coming back into the industry. And
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of my friends who are in their 30s, and they were big collectors when they were young, and then life happens and they weren't able to collect. They started doing more adult things, but now that they're married and they're just at home and they've gone through their collections, they're like, wow, I got tons of great stuff, and I want to get more cards, and I have a little more cash. So people are getting back into the industry, and they have a little more money to spend. So they might be going on eBay and buying up their old, childhood Grail card. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the card industry is really in having a little renaissance here, and it's blowing up. And so
I I think I can understand what you're saying, when because the all the lockdown, so people are at home like looking at, hey, wait a minute, maybe this thing is worth something, and then they go back to all their collections and stuff, and then say, wow, this could be worth something like that.
I'll tell you a story about some of my collection. During the pandemic, I actually went through some old binders. Like I had those binders back in the day, with
Mm.
sheets with 9 cards, and I went in and I was going through cards, and in between my cards, I had put Kobe Bryant rookies, and some of them were $1,000 cards hidden
Mm.
amongst just a bunch of junk cards. But a lot of people, when they were children, they kept lots of cards, and there's a lot of nostalgia and actually a lot of great stuff that might be
Mm.
in their collections.
Now that's
Now there's another big thing that's happening as well, and I think it's due to the stimulus packages that Americans are getting.
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I think that people, one, want to if they're comfortable and if they're not having a problem financially, they have this extra $1,200. They have this extra $600, and they're putting it maybe, or they're thinking about maybe some type of investment. Now the stock market's basically at all-time highs, so people are finding valuable cards as well. And I think there have been some major sales. There's been a Giannis Antetokounmpo that sold for over $1 million during the pandemic. LeBron James that sold for over $1 million. And obviously, those aren't people with using their stimulus; those are big players. But regular people are also going after some cards that have been rising continually over the past year. And also, besides all this, I have met some people in the card community, because I visited the Philippines a number of times, and I know that the people that are really in the industry, they have some graded cards, and I'm sure they have to send them all the way to the U.S., and it takes a while to get them all the way back in the Philippines. But yeah, there is a small community that I've seen and I've talked to that are into collecting in Manila, and it's very exciting to be talking with you guys to reach out to them.
Dude, last time I remember you were here, we were in Green Hills looking at Funko Pops.
Oh man, Green Hills is one of my favorite places. You don't even realize how much I enjoy it with you guys there.
Yeah, how many times have you been there? I think you've been there like 2 or 3 times, but we only went there once, right? I mean,
I'm gonna think it's more than that. It was probably only 2 or 3 times in a year. Maybe 2018, 2019. But I've been there, I want to say, at least 5 times, and every time I just feel so happy to be.
You were there 5 times, and you only called me once. What the?
I know, right? Some of the times there was just for a weekend meetup. And,
you told me.
I was meeting up with the community and just trying to get involved. So not only sports card, but also other collectibles, as you mentioned before.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to your to this grading thing. One of the questions I have in my head is, we call you a grader, right? You're a grader of sports cards. Like, how do you become a grader? Is there like do you go through training, or is there like a certification? How did you become a grader? How do you become a certified grader? How do you do that?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I've been a huge collector for all of my life, and I've been also
in Green Hills.
Yeah, and also I've been submitting and working with dealers to help them figure out what cards to submit to other grading companies in the past. So I've been spending a lot of time evaluating cards and being around the card industry, and CSG just was kind of popped up. And they were starting out, and they were looking for people that were deep in the industry. Now, I'd say there are less than 100 certified graders in the whole world, I would say.
Even in the US?
In the US, there are less than 100 graders. So, I mean, it's not something that you're just automatically certified. You have to kind of be deeply ingrained in the industry and collecting sports cards and know about sports cards. And then for the grading and interview process, it took a number of tests, and we spent over a day discussing cards. And so they really are looking for people that, have a real love for cards, and that also can evaluate cards up to their level. And from what I know about the whole interview process, they've gone through a lot of people looking for graders. So you really have to be sincerely interested in the community. So I'm very excited, and I feel very lucky to be in it. It's obviously something that, I'm passionate about, and I think is fun. I mean, every day that I go to work, I'm having a great time, and no matter what type of cards that I'm grading or evaluating, no matter if it's a football card, basketball card, sports cards, even like garbage pail kids cards, because those are my favorite growing up. I love them all, and so really,
So,
for me, it's just about loving the industry and being aware of the four subgrades that I mentioned before, and being able to explain how you got to a certain grade for that subgrade.
mm,
So, I mean, you can't just come in and say, "Oh, that's a 7." No, you have to explain what's the issue with that corner or that crinkle or the centering. So you have to have a good level of awareness. And
mm,
yeah, we're constantly being trained, and the managers are working with us, and they're some of the best. There are two guys, Andy and Weston, and they came from one of the best grading companies in the industry, and they're bringing a wealth of knowledge. And
mhm.
I'm lucky to be working under them. They're great.
When you talk about grades, what does that
Yeah.
mean? Is
Okay.
this is there like a number? Like I think you mentioned the numbers like a 1 to 7. Where one is the best. What can you talk more about that?
Yeah, let's take a step back. So grading, it's going from 10 to 1. Obviously, we're
Ten
looking
to
at
one.
every card from you know
What
pristine condition to 1, and we look and go down the list, and we confirm if
what-
there
what's uh what's the
what
best?
issues they
One
may
one's the
have.
best or ten's the best?
Oh wow. No. 10 is the best, obviously, and we go down by point fives, and so you can have a 9.5 or 7.5.
Okay. Okay.
So for each subgrade, as I mentioned before, they'll get a grade, and then we'll combine that score with an algorithm to put a overall grade.
Okay. So 10 is like your is like 10. Breath of the Wild, Zelda. That's a 10, something like that. That's
Or
10 is the best.
hasn't been opened yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Rainier, do you have any cards? I know you were a big collector of all things back
No,
in the day.
yeah, but I don't know. I need to go back to my grandma's closet. My grandma's American, so when I was
Oh
small,
yeah. Okay.
she used to uh, bring a lot of stuff from the U.S. So, but I, what do I know? So maybe I'll go back to the old house and see what I can dig up in there.
You have to. You really have to, because this could be like your children's down payment on
Yeah,
their
yeah.
house one day. So
Like
you
speaking
take a
of
look.
like
No,
speaking of
Rangers probably buy a May full size statue.
I don't know.
He's buying the May statue. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
that
those
already.
statues
So
are nice too.
yeah. Okay, let's go back to you were saying like you were talking about like the value. Of course, in the
Yeah.
U.S., it could be sold for a lot. Like in your experience, what is the rarest or the most expensive one that you've ever graded? What's the value
Ooh.
that's gone through
So
your hands? Do you
okay.
use like
Oh yeah.
gloves or microscopes before you like? Do you put it on
Oh
the
yeah.
on that?
Yeah.
Do you encapsulate it? Are you the one who does that,
Okay.
or
So so encapsulating the slab room is what we call it. The
Mhm.
slab room is a separate group of people, but they masterfully handle the cards. That there's no issue. Um,
Okay?
and they're doing a great job, but that's separate. But some of the cards that have been shared around me have right now, it's been a lot of uh, Pokemon cards and a lot of Charizards. So I've
Mm,
seen Charizards that
how much
have
did they go
been
for?
over 100,000. Over a hundred
Really?
thousand. It's
How a
amazing.
Charizard, $100,000 for a Charizard card?
Yeah, there have been. I'm not. I'm personally. I'm not a Pokemon collector, but I can respect some rare cards that people love,
Mm-hmm.
and the Charizard is the most loved card in the Pokemon world, and
Mm-hmm.
there's been a bit of a boom cycle happening with Pokemon, and yeah, some of the original Charizards from the base set have just been going crazy. So I've seen a couple of Charizards that have been perfect tens, and they've been
Mm-hmm.
quite nice. Now also one of the other things I saw was I saw a uncut sheet of the original Pokemon set, the original
Oh,
base set, first edition, and
How much? Oh.
it was uncut and it had multiple Charizards on it. It's like a perfect, I don't know, a perfect collector's item for Pokemon lovers. It's a beautiful piece for that owner.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when did the Pokemon cards came out? These are the 90s, right? So
Yeah, I think 1999 was
okay,
the
and end of the
first set.
early 2000, late 1990s, right? Mm.
Yeah, yeah, the late 1990s, and then yeah, I probably bought a few packs, but I don't know where they are at all anymore. But anyway, yeah, some of the other sports cards that I've seen, because we've been getting some early dealer submissions,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen one Jordan 1986 Fleer rookie, and that thing is a beauty. That's the cream of the crop. That's the
How
top
much is that?
for Jordan. Well, in the condition it was in, it wouldn't be as high. But I saw a auction for the Michael Jordan rookie, and it went up to 220,000.
Wow,
So
wow. For a
it's
1996 car,
no,
1986 card.
yeah, 1986
Wow.
Fleer Jordan rookie.
Mm.
It's pretty wild. It's The industry is
Mm-hmm.
pretty
That's
hot
cool.
right now.
So like you're saying, so that do people? So let's say I have a card. I go to your company or to you. It's not yet encapsulated, right? So what? How does it work? You encapsulate it first, or you grade it first, or you grade it first, then encapsulate? How does the process? Or let's say I have. Oh, I found a card. I want to know, is this real? How much is it worth? How does it work?
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, this is really easy, and this is very important. So you first submit a form and complete it and submit it with your card, send it all the way to the US to us. And then we're going to take your card, we're going to verify it with the form. And then if everything looks good, we're going to set it up to be graded. Then it's going to come over to me, to my desk, or one of the other excellent graders. And we're going to look at your card and we're going to authenticate it and grade it. And then once we have confirmed a grade, after it's gone through at least two graders, then it'll go to the slab room, and then we'll
Okay.
encapsulate your card, and then it will get a label with the grade on it as well. And then we'll do a quality check, probably more than one, easily. Normally it's two. And then we're going to do a high res image of it and put it in our database. So when you look up your
Oh.
card, you will always be able to confirm it was that card and it wasn't changed. And that's one of the things that also we're doing that the others in the industry haven't done from the beginning. So we think
Mm.
it's going to be game changing to have the image of the card, just so anybody can be sure that card or that slab that they're holding is the real one, and it wasn't changed or altered. So
Are you
yeah, then we're
saying
gonna send it back.
so? When you do the when you basically have a digital image of the card, do you put it in your website so like publicly so people can see that? Yep, we've graded this card. Is that how it
Yes,
works?
yes, exactly. So we want to
That's
give
good.
our users the chance to confirm that every card we have graded is legit and it's the same card. We're gonna have obviously a very high res image, so you can focus in on the corners or the front or the back, the surface. And our cases are clearer, in my opinion, clearer than any other cases in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. So these images are going to look beautiful, and you should be able to find the exact card that you are looking up. And if it's not that card, then obviously you're not going to want to deal with that person
Yeah,
and
yeah,
make that
that's
trade.
yeah, that's right. That totally makes sense. It's like you guys are saying, "Yep, we graded it," and then that's the real thing. But do you put
Exactly.
like the contact person, like the details of the person who has that
Of course
card,
not.
so that
Of course no.
not right? No,
You
right? But
know,
how do they? Let's say I'm a buyer, and then I go to your website. Say, hey, I want to buy this one. How do I contact that person? How
well,
does
no.
that work?
To first to be able to find the card, you're going to have to know the card number, and that's only on the label of the card. So you're not
Mm,
going to just be able to find any 10 Jordan on our website. You have to have
okay,
the card
okay.
number first.
So if I was the seller, then I put it out there. Then the person who wants to buy it can check it on your website. Yep, it's legit because we graded that.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
that actually makes sense. I mean, so there's checks in place. We can check. I can check whether
Correct.
yep,
Yeah,
Doug
we
did
want to
grade
make
that.
our users have the best protection for their cards and the most certification, so that if they do trade, or if they're trying to get another card from us that's in our slabs, that they can be confident in it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that really makes sense, and it's like a check in place. Okay,
Yeah,
now
because in the good old days, there was just eBay, and you were just buying raw cards, and
yeah,
people
yeah,
would put up a picture, and the card might look flawless, but then when you receive the card, there's some damages on it, and you just be like, "But that's not the card." And so either you
exactly.
complain to eBay and try and get it sent back, or
Yeah,
not. But now we're gonna have other ways to help our customers and help sports card collectors.
correct. So besides the U.S., is the grading thing expanded to other countries like in Asia?
Yeah, yeah. No, in the sports card industry, there are a number of shows, and at least before pre-pandemic, there were shows in Asia, and some graders from other companies had been to the shows. Let's say in Tokyo or in
Mm.
Taiwan,
Oh yeah,
also
Tokyo
in a
in
lot of
Japan that would be big.
European countries. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but if you want to ship cards outside the country, and it's actually quite common to receive items from Australia, Canada,
Oh, okay, okay.
China. I mean, in Pokemon, in trading cards, we're getting cards from all over the world.
Oh really?
So
Okay.
for you, as someone who's a collector and wants to get your card graded, the best thing I can recommend is to follow all the guidelines for how to prepare your shipment, and all the grading, all the sports card grading companies have recommendations. But my recommendation on top of those is to
Mm-hmm.
double box it. Okay, so you might
Mm.
have in the US, I might send it in one box, and I follow all the requirements. But if I'm outside the country, I might put it a box within a box. And that's
Mm.
just an extra level of security, because cards are quite small. They're not going to take up a lot of space. So you can
Mm.
double box it, and I think that will help. That's just from a collector's perspective. That's
Mm-hmm.
not from my company, but personally, that's what I would do if you have issues with boxes being damaged when they arrive in your country.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. Is like does your company, for example, like in the Philippines, let's say there's a small number of people collecting, probably. Has like your company ever thought of like opening an office uh, abroad that that would like?
Yeah, that's a great question, and actually, my company has a number of offices already around the world.
Oh, really? Where?
We have a Shanghai office, we have a London
Mm.
office, have focused on Asia. I hope once the pandemic goes away and we start to go to more shows, we can confirm the level of the collectors at the Asian
Mhm.
markets currently. And from there, I would hope that we would possibly consider that because, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think there are collectors all over in, specifically China. They love basketball,
Mhm.
and there's quite a market there in Taiwan, Hong Kong,
The the
in
the
Japan, and the
the Philippines
Philippines.
love basketball, man. It's like the
Oh yeah, you
nation.
guys as
It's like
well.
national sport here. But yeah,
Yeah,
that could be big here as well. I'm sure.
yeah. No, I mean, we're gonna consider everything. Obviously, we've got the heavy hitters from paper money, coin grading, from comic book grading. So we're going to be
Hmm.
looking at the best opportunities, and then we're going to go for it when it's ready.
I'm sure there's we'll have comments from people who already have their basketball cards. Uh, that I probably they don't know that it could be graded, and they just don't know how to go about it because here basketball is a big thing. NBA is big here.
No, I'm a huge basketball fan. It's probably my favorite sport for cards, and
Hmm.
I'm happy to share this with everybody that loves basketball as well. That if you have some great cards or some cards you just love and you want to make sure they last a long time, go
Hmm.
to csgcards.com and
Hmm.
check out our services. We'd love to make sure your collectibles are authenticated and they're safe for you in the long term.
Yeah, well, when this pandemic ends, or we hopefully it does end, then we can go back to our normal lives, and then you guys should be coming in here, maybe joining an expo or something, and then considering the Philippines, opening an office here or something.
Yeah, I'd love to, and I'd love to bring everything we offer over to you guys, and make sure the sports card world or the collecting card world over in the Philippines, all your stuff is preserved and not getting washed away by
Yeah.
floods.
well,
Yeah.
well, that's I just something just popped in my head. There's a card like how old does it have to be to be authentic or to be graded? Does it have to be like 30 years old, or it could be like a car that's rare but it's new but it's rare? How is
Well,
there any how does that work?
okay, so yeah, there are different tiers. There's modern cards, there's vintage cards,
The
um,
modern
and
cards, okay.
basically, whatever card you think has value, or if you've checked on eBay listings and you see you see your card being sold for a certain price, if you think it's worth it, you should get it graded. Maybe
Mhm.
it can be a $1 card, it can be $1,000 card, or even more, obviously. But I mean, if it holds value to you, or if you think in the future it has a chance to go up in
Mhm.
value, I would get it graded. So, right now we're looking at a lot of dealer submissions, and it's a lot of the rookies from this year in the NBA, a lot of 2020 rookies, a lot of
Mhm.
LaMelo Balls, a lot of James Wisemans, Anthony Edwards. So we're getting a lot of the new stuff. My manager is a vintage expert. So he can
Mhm.
go back to the late 1800s, early 1900s on baseball cards. So, I
Oh,
mean, you could go all the way from
1900s.
the beginning, you know, to now. And there's going to be something worth it, or there's going to be something rare. And you got to get it protected. That's just what will help the value and hold the value for your card.
When was baseball invented? 1800s? I thought that was like a
Yeah,
new
I guess it'd be the late 1800s, but yeah,
thing.
there are some beautiful cards I've seen from the early 1900s that I never thought I'd be able to see outside of a sports card convention or show.
Very, very interesting. You know, yeah. I was thinking like, yeah, I hope that this thing goes here, and then we can have something like that here. So maybe not only for American cards, also maybe our own, Filipino cards. Maybe that would work too, because I know there's like games. John, what was that game that
Yeah,
also?
recently a local developer
Yeah, we're
came
also
out with
having.
the game, card game.
It's like a card game as well. So
Okay, is it similar to like Magic the Gathering, or what is it?
Something.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
something similar probably, but yeah. So
Okay.
I think the local scene is also coming up with its own cards. So it's
Okay.
going there.
Yeah,
So-
well, I mean, you guys got to keep me updated, and I'll look into it. But if it develops into something long term, that's going to hold a
Yeah.
lot of value.
Exactly.
I'd love to learn more about it and share it with my
Yeah,
team.
Next time you come here, I'll show you what kind of cards we have here, like in the 80s. It's called Tex. TE.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna have to meet up and go to Green Hills, and
Yeah,
I'll find out. Is it Dex? I'll find out all about.
It's Tex. John, how do you spell it? Is it TEX or?
I'm not sure.
It's these small. We kind of play for it. I don't know. I forgot how we play for it. We like spin it, and then if you win, you get it. But it's all like 80s cartoons and stuff. But
Well, you know what? Can you get your viewers to send some images of those cards? I'd love to see them.
yeah. I'm sure that they have a lot of the images, but that was, I mean, right now I don't even know if you can find it. But if someone has it, if one of you, I'm sure it's gonna. If somebody will collect that, people will pay a lot of money because now they don't make them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, then yeah, that potentially that could be a good investment.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Next time you come here, man, I'm gonna show that to you.
I'll post the image in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'd love to.
it's
I'd love to
it's
learn
small.
about them.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very,
some of my colleagues, they love collecting rare Asian card sets. So yeah, if that's a pretty unique set in the Philippines and they're not making them anymore, I'd love to learn more about them because yeah, my colleagues might want to know about it.
Yeah, I'll show you, man. I'll show when next time you come here. Hopefully, yeah, you could. All of us can travel again. Well, okay, thank you, man. Before we end our show, anything would you like to say to our listeners? Anything what you want to say, man?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun talking with you guys, and I just want to tell your users that if they have anything that they want to keep and they think might be valuable for them, go to csgcards.com and look at our service. We think you'll get your cards back very quickly. We're starting fresh, so if you get your cards into us, it's gonna come back at the times we are recommending. It's not going to take 6 months or a year to wait for your cards, because from what I know, some of the other big boys in the industry, they are backed up by over 1 million cards, just waiting to be graded that they're stuck behind. And potentially now it could be multiple millions. So yeah, if you want to get your cards graded and get them back quickly, you'll want to go with us. We're excited to share our service and go live shortly. csgcards.com.
To all our listeners, thank you for listening. That's all for this episode. Kung meron kayong mga cards, mga nakatago diyan sa mga drawer ng mga kamag-anak nyo, tingnan niyo na, malay nyo. padala nyo dito sa Kinadog saka sa company nila, who knows. Okay, guys, everybody, thank you. See you in the next episode. Rainier signing out.